think
All
we're
right.
live.
Yes, I know. I'm trying to minimize things, maximize other things. It's all a thing. Hey everybody,
Max
welcome
maxing.
to the MFG Cast
Nerd
YouTube. Yes.
maxing.
That's right. Nerd to the Mac Bob Max. We are back on YouTube. We're doing more role playing. It's been a while. Last time I
Been a
actually think it was
while.
like been a while. I think it was
You
like
beat me to it.
uh February of 2024, I think, is the last time we did anything live. So it's been a bit.
Wow.
I will just say that I've actually struggled to come back and want to do something like this. I've been on the docket to want to run something for a while. It's just with the world burning and sometimes things happening in your life, you don't realize how much you need a mental break. So it's taking a little bit, but we're back. We are going to be playing a play test of a role-playing game called CoreThulhu. That is
Never heard of it.
actually written by our friend John Haremza. I'm going to be running a fun little small campaign called Mask. But this is kind of a session zero. So this is kind of like the before, like, hey, what are our characters' names? What do they do? How are we all related? How is it related to the story and stuff like that? So it's just kind of I don't know, everybody just trying to get to know each other, and then we'll just get into the story with our episode one then. So that being said, John, why don't you go through a little bit of what Cthulhu is?
It's a role playing game. Oh,
All right,
yeah, okay.
so
Good
session
pitch.
zero. Here we
Good
go.
pitch. Shortest elevator ride ever.
It's
Right.
so CoreThulhu is my attempt or homage, I guess, at horror gaming and Call of Cthulhu, Lovecraftiana, Delta Green, all that kind of stuff. It was inspired in part by Todd Foley, who you ran our Day Trippers game for a long time. The Core has a first edition, if you will, that's available now. It's available for free. It's on Drive Through RPG. You need Core Micro to play it. So I am loosely kind of sort of working on a second edition. Um, that is going to incorporate the base mechanics along with all of the core Cthulhu mechanics. It is moving sort of away from core a little bit. It is tangential to core now. There's like your traditional six stats. You have skills and all that sort of stuff. But it's a little bit more narrative in that the dice don't just give you a yes or no. If you succeed, with one over your target value, you get a yes and. You could also have a no and or a no but. So there's various levels of success or failure. So it is a little bit more storytelling. It's still crunchy and sort of traditional. Um, and so I'm trying to incorporate kind of more storytelling elements. Things are kind of in flux at the moment. Um, uh, Old core had, you'd roll your dice, you take the highest value in that pool, and then like in a combat situation, it would count both for your attack and also your defense. That gets really sort of complicated as you start adding different modifiers and for cover and like all these different things. It's a lot of stuff to keep track of. So we've changed that down now to where there's just a target number to hit in combat or in shooting, more like Savage Worlds. And then we're messing with the damage track a little bit. We're re-evaluating and reimagining the trauma and shock. Shock's going to stay the same if anybody's familiar at all. But trauma is changing to some degree. I don't know exactly what yet exactly. But it's horror. It is meant to be, as we determined as I was writing it, and Jess and I were talking about it after the fact, it lends itself more towards campaign play or multi-session play, right? I mean, it could be a handful of episodes. It doesn't have to be like a Masks of Nyarlathotep where you're playing for 14 years, but something that takes a little bit longer because the crux, I guess, of the game is more the shock and the trauma track, and it's about telling more personal stories and having seeing the outcome of people encountering these weird and horrific otherworldly entities or cults and all these different things and the toll that takes and the trauma that that person experiences and how that affects their life, including the people around them. So there's bonds. Currently, we have contacts as a mechanic, which may or may not stay. Um, but yeah, so that's kind of where it's at. It's in flux. So the play test for this is going to be cool because we can see how some of these things are working or not working, which hopefully is going to propel me forward to actually sit down and do a bunch of work that I would love to do and have no um, not desire because that's not the right word, but no spoons to sit down and just like completely rewrite do like 100 and some pages. Uh, so yeah, that's where we're at.
Nice, nice. Yeah. And I like where you're going with the CoreThulhu because it like you said, it's playing into the trauma and the shock and how the characters actually deal with that, which I think is a very good thing as far as telling a good story. I mean, because
Yeah.
that's what you want to do when you're doing a role-playing game. You want to tell a good story, and I feel like tapping into that shock that trauma. I just try to put them both together and say shama, but it's gonna be it'll be a fun little playing thing to see where everything goes and how that kind of shapes out. So that'll be fun.
Well,
So
yeah,
that being said, again, I think as we go to, we'll kind of address some of the things. So like if there's any like, stat questions that we have or gameplay questions that we have, like me being a GM, like I'm really good at telling a story, but sometimes I'm like, oh shit, what was that thing that I needed to say? What's part of this rules that I should be saying? So I'll probably be asking a lot of questions as well when it comes to like it's a good thing that I have you as one of the players, John, because then I can be like, oh, I can get it from the horse's mouth, so to speak. So it'll be nice
hopefully
to
I
kind
have
of
an answer with so many
and
things kind of being up in the air.
yeah, and it might actually, it again, like you said, it might actually bring out those answers that you need. So sometimes when you're writing stuff, like I think we've all kind of written our own stuff or whatever, and sometimes you get into a rut, and it's nice to have somebody to bounce off of. Well, this is a perfect way to do that. So
Yeah, for sure.
hopefully that'll bring some good stuff. Yeah, and get people interested in getting your game once you have it complete, or even get the first edition, for that matter.
Yeah, I mean it's free, so no harm, no foul.
Yep.
Like I said, the second edition is going to be I don't know substantially different, but definitely different, but compatible. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, but some of the things ultimately are probably going to work a different way. So
Yeah, 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 for sure. Okay, well, now that we've kind of talked about that, let's get into how we get our characters as fully formed as we can at this early stage, and kind of talk about who's got what, and if we need to kind of work on stats, if we need to work on backstory, if we have to work on, kind of the crunchier stuff, let's do that. So we'll start with you, John, since
oh shit.
you've actually we kind of talked before we started here or whatever, and you had a lot of good ideas and stuff like that for your character. So why don't you just kind of talk to us about your character?
Okay, I guess before I do that, I'll just say that so in creating a character, we generally use 100 point characters. So you have 100 XP to spend to create your character. Um, there are levels of stats, so that your stats are they're logarithmic. All of your stats, you have six. They all start at one. If you want to bump a stat from 1 to 2, what that means is you're gonna go from having 1 die to roll in your dice pool to two, and you can take that all the way up to 6. The more dice you have to roll, that's cool because you have a higher percent chance to roll a higher number. But where the system really kind of makes its bones is in having skills, because then the skills will add on to that. Because right, the highest you're ever going to roll is a 6. But if you have a stat at say +3, then your maximum is a 9. Your potentiality is a 9, which is going to allow you to achieve cooler things. Is going to give you more leeway when you see things that are increasingly horrific. Is going to give you, I guess, maybe a little bit more of a buffer. So it's a point buy system. So if you wanted to take your die from 1 to 2, that would cost 5 points. If you wanted to go from 1 to 3, I think it's 20 points or 15 points. So you're essentially, it's like an extra 10 points. So you spend 5 and then you're spending another 10. So you're at 15. Um, Stats typically hover, between like, 2 and 3 if you want a balanced character. If you want a higher dice pool in one, so you want to get up to a 4, you're probably going to have a stat at 1. Depends on how you like to play. But yeah, that's kind of how the character creation part mechanically sort of works.
I like to
Okay.
put my psyche at 1.
Yeah. Well, let's see how that works out.
Trauma, 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 trauma.
Yeah.
Worked out fine for Chip.
Right? Well, John worked out well for Chip, I guess. All right. So I am going to be playing a character by the name of Maxwell Banks. That is not his real name. That is his chosen, assumed, legit name. He kind of looks like Paul Rudd. You dress him up, he looks pretty good. Put him in a t-shirt and jeans. I mean, it's Paul Rudd. He kind of looks
Your
pretty
Ant-Man.
good, I guess.
Got it.
He's a normal looking guy. He runs a art gallery. He's the owner proprietor. He I don't know how deep we want to go to the backstory, but he grew up poor. Um, has a juvenile record, maybe up till like 2021. You probably did some time in juvie, maybe short, jail stays. So he at some point, in the last handful of years, sort of reinvented himself. Had gone legit until he met a certain group of individuals that sort of kind of hooked him back into some, more nefarious things. And yeah, he's because Bonds is a part of the system, very similar to Delta Green. His bond is his significant other is Samantha Spencer. I think they're probably like long engagement sort of situation. And she's, successful in her own right. But he is afraid of being poor, in that sense, shitty, but like having grown up poor, he is very cognizant of wealth and what that means and how that all functions. So he is very sort of compartmentalized. So like he has the good job, he's got the attractive, well put together, partner. It's just very sort of kind of put together, but it's more of a facade.
Nice. I love it. See, even in a session 0, that's a that's a very well thought out character for what we already have, which is not very much. Um, so because I'm the worst GM in the world, I forgot. Did I say that we are playing that these three are going to be playing criminals that are going to be stealing things? So like they're a band of criminals that steal. In this case, it's going to be a piece of art coming up here, where it's going to be a piece of art that is from Hitler's art teacher called Daisies. So it's a very exclusive piece, one of the most rare ones or whatever. So it's going to be something that's going to be very hard for them, even though they're a group of very good criminals that have done a lot of good thefts or whatever. but that's kind of where we're starting. So I just thought I would reference that so people realize that this is why we're making these characters.
We're not
So
stealing this for a bunch of Nazis, are we?
no, no,
Okay, because then I'm
you're
out.
No.
no,
Yeah,
no, no. You're
right.
you're. Guess what? You're stealing it from a bunch of Nazis. That's
Okay,
basically
all
what you're
right, that
doing.
makes sense
All right,
then.
I'm
I'm
back
all
in.
in. Yeah.
We're taking it from the bad people, is what we're doing.
Can we just burn the house down? Do we need to steal it?
Hey,
Can we
I'm
steal it,
not
then burn
saying
the house
you.
down?
Yeah, I'm not saying you could do what, but you do what you want to do. All right. Well, again, since we've talked about this a little bit beforehand, we'll continue with Kevin. So, Kevin, what is your character, and give us a little bit of backstory if you can. If you can't, not no big deal.
Okay, so we have another player here for a minute, so we'll see if she hops back down off my lap. So my character is Grant Eddings. Um, I guess unless there's any Brits or people who like British soap operas, he kind of looks like a combination of all the Mitchell brothers from EastEnders. Kind of rough and tumble looking guy. They said he's a plumber, typical kind of white van man, but he uses that as he figures that's really great cover. He is an art forger. So whenever he's doing jobs, he tries to get a bit more of the higher end clientele in the area. Um, I think Kurt, we said we're in Pensacola, I think is what we said, correct? Our location,
Yeah, you'll be living in Pensacola, Florida,
Pensacola.
and the heist was going to be in Mobile, Alabama.
Yeah, so he's so I guess so typical plumber. It's not just showers and toilets and sinks. I guess there's a bit of the old fancy saunas and hot tubs and things like that. So he uses that as cover for scoping out joints, finding good things. And I guess his kind of his kind of play is he finds something. He's a pretty good forager, so nobody notices anything's missing unless they go get it analyzed or appraised. Um, so I guess we can play that out how he covers his ass in case someone does find out that that he's done the old switcheroo on him. I guess that's a thread we can pull. Um,
Hmm.
so maybe his white van gets a bit more mileage. He doesn't want to be just staying just in the general area. Maybe he branches out a bit. Maybe he has some shell companies, different names for his company. I guess we can work that through. I hadn't really thought about that if I'm stealing from everybody in my local area, but we'll work that out. That'll be some complications we can work through. So he uses the fact of his cover of kind of looking like a street brawler. He went to RISD, so he went to RISD for theory of history and art and design. So you look at someone whose dad was a fisherman, and he probably started out as a fisherman with his dad, and now is a plumber. But yeah, he the smarts on the art history and forgery side is pretty high. I would also say he's pretty good with his fists. So we said he was going to be pretty much I don't know. Pugilist sounds like a different era to call it, but so I said street fight. Maybe we'll come up with a better. If we were playing the typical Cthulhu kind of thing, I guess it would be pugilist. But I guess a brawler or street fighter or things like that is kind of what he's good at. But his father kind of instilled. So his father would be, his kind of bond and instilled a love of art. They're not originally from the Pensacola area. So if we said he went to RISD, we would say, and he's a fisherman, I would say probably somewhere Rhode Islandish. We'll come up with the exact place in Rhode Island, New England area. Um, but so his father used to take him to a lot of the art museums and displays and galleries in the greater Boston area, New England area. So that really instilled a love of art, and he really didn't want to be a fisherman, so he used his smarts and his ability to become an art forger and make some money on doing that.
Nice. I like that. I feel like we've got between the two of you, we've got very like can be in the same role but kind of opposite and but also yeah, it'll be cool to see how they interact.
Well, I think it's different ends of the pipeline, right?
Mm.
There's the acquisition side and the the liquidation side on the other one. So I think that worked out really well.
And
Yeah,
being
yeah.
in Florida too, right? Like there's you have so many like snowbirds. So you'd be like, oh yeah, like we need to get all of our like our pipes shut down because like we're leaving and we don't want to leak. And like they've got something fancy in the house because they own a house in Florida and wherever the
Yeah.
fuck they're coming from.
Hmm.
So it's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, I see that you have, so and so. Like, so some of the stuff's easy to steal because
No one's
nobody's
Yeah.
there.
around.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. Yeah, you're almost like the wet bandits. You're like,
Oh,
"Oh, where are you going?
yep.
Where are you from?" Yeah, yeah, yeah. That kind of thing.
You can spend a
I was
lot more
trying to
time
remember the actor's name
for
that was on the Wet Bandits from Home Alone.
Daniel Stern and
Yep.
Joe Pesci, wasn't it?
Joe Pesci, that's
Yeah,
it.
Joe
Yep.
Yeah,
Pesci.
Joe
Yeah.
Pesci.
Hmm. Yep.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
I guess
Yep.
that's also a kind of feel too. A little short, tough guy. Well, I just said short. I said 6 feet, but 6 feet 220. I think I said that seemed like a
You're a
pretty
tall Joe
solid
Pesci.
a thick neck kind
Yeah.
of guy. Yeah, yeah. So that makes sense. Yeah. So while if I'm subcontracting some of the jobs out, I can spend a lot more time being the foreman of the
Yep.
job, but doing some other stuff in the property. So John, I'm glad you brought that up because that actually works out really well. Lots of second home stuff and absent landlords and absent
Yeah.
homeowners.
Oh
Hmm.
Well,
yeah.
and that's kind of why I picked Florida too, because like not only is it that kind of thing, but it's also there's different types of people there too. It's not just, oh, I'm from Florida. It's like a lot of people move down there because they don't want to live in where I am, Wisconsin or anything, like 'cause they want warmer weather, that kind of thing. So
Hmm.
like you're gonna have people of different types there.
And I think we said Pensacola is up near the Panhandle, so that is kind of the redneck Riviera, I think, right? When we talked
Hmm.
last time. So yeah,
Yep.
that makes sense. So getting away from the weather, you're near the beach. And if you're in that area too, in the Panhandle, I'm assuming there's lots of industry and business and stuff too, because you're on the Gulf. There's lots of
Yeah.
extraction and things like that, along with the tourism stuff. So I think that
Yeah.
that
There.
works out really
Yeah.
well for
Yeah.
for
There's
the
a lot of
clientele and yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of high-end stuff, but there's also like sometimes Pensacola is where people go for spring break, that kind of
Yeah.
thing. So like there's a lot of different things.
Cool. I like it.
Okay. Yeah. All right. All right, Jesse, we've had the least amount of time with you, so we're gonna see what you've come up with
All
for
right.
a character.
Um, so I have um oh god, what was the search? Ryan. So Ryan Locke, um, who call sign Anthem. So he is a extended tour military sniper. Um, Basically spent some time overseas. Um, and uh I actually no wait, not Marine. So Army sniper. The reason Army so the Marine snipers are a little bit more of like independent solo missions, whereas the Army tend to work more in like small group and do a little bit more scouting. Um
Hmm.
so when he actually came home early because um he got wounded in a firefight and ended up being medically discharged. So he came home. He's kind of having a little bit of rough time of it, and a couple of the other guys that were in his squad came back about a year or so later, and they ended up meeting up again. Um, They had some connections with people who could get him jobs, but it was all kind of under the table type stuff. And it's not usually the most upright people who run those kind of lines of work. And eventually he found himself trustworthy enough of like, hey, do you want to do this other kind of work? And it was, basically classic like beat 'em up, guy owes me money type stuff. So like go to someone's house, meet him after work, all that kind of stuff. And it kind of slowly escalated to the point where he's now normally like either the scout or the forward person or just the eye in the sky type guy. Um but also just in case with a rifle and some handguns and K-bar and stuff like that. Just for protection. So
Nice. So I'm gonna ask a question for you then.
ask as many as you
Uh,
want.
is it lock? Is it LOC? Is it LOCKE or LOCK?
LOCKE.
Okay. And then where were you wounded?
He ended up getting some shrapnel in the leg, so he's got it kind of like a bum calf knee area on his left side. And I figure too, his bond would probably be his partner, the rangefinder, who I haven't come up with a name yet, but Justin McElroy.
Is that really
They
one of
called
the
him
McElroys?
is God damn it, no, I can't do that.
Yes, I think it is one of the
Change that name. I was wondering why that sounded familiar.
James McElroy. Stick with the J.
Let's go with James McDonough.
Sounds good.
They called him J-Mac.
Okay. Nice. Wow. There's some really good characters here. I feel like this is gonna work out well. So now that we have kind of our character situation here, I think one of the things we maybe need to talk about is kind of how I know how Kevin and John's character could kind of hook up for these things, but I want to know like how does Jesse's character fit into this?
I mean, I feel like what Jesse said, right? Like he winds up coming in as the muscle, right? Like
Okay.
maybe we have so you know Grant steals things, finds things, and I think for I don't know if I mentioned this before, like but as part of my backstory, because he had that criminal element in his background and went legit, but is still always worried about money. Like the thrill of receiving something stolen to sell kind of ignited that, like, ooh, this is, you get that living on the edge sort of thing. So then, one night Grant's like,
Yeah.
well, hey, I could really use an extra set of hands. Or, maybe he's just kind of talking about the job in general. Be like, well, like I'm, Samantha's out of town for the weekend. Like I'm free if you want to like go get a beer and a painting or whatever the fuck, right? So,
Peer in a painting.
it may be one of those instances like it's a really close call or something, right? Or like maybe, we don't get caught by the Honem or the cops, but like, some like good Samaritans, like, hey, where are you guys running from? Like, what do you have? Right. So we get into like some sort of fisticuffs or whatever. We're like, you know what, this sucks. Like, I don't fight anybody. Like, we should find someone to like watch the outside or whatever,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
Yeah,
how
and that's
we
his
meet
whole
him, I don't
shtick
know.
too, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, he's been a like he's watched people. He hasn't actually participated in like burglary before, but he's been the one outside, up on the
Yeah.
rooftop or on the opposite corner, like watching the surroundings, making sure everyone's cool, making sure the coast is clear, and then if shit goes down, he's there to lay it down.
Yeah.
Right. And then when we sell something, like we just,
Yeah.
we split it, right? So like he gets his cut from that.
Cut. Yeah.
How do
Yeah.
we
Okay, well
meet
then I'm
you?
gonna well here I actually have an idea if you allow me to throw that out for you.
Sure, yeah,
So let's just say that uh, both both Maxwell and Grant are both trying to find somebody. And you're like, well, what do we do? And you're like, well, I heard the dark web. That's where you find like all the people that you needed things to do the thing, that kind of thing. And you just kind of you seem to find, and I'm the reason why I'm saying this is because eventually I want to have a character in with you guys that's going to be basically your the guy that finds you the place. Like he's like, okay, well, this person has this piece of art, and this is why it's special, or this person has this, and so he's going to be your contact from the dark web, basically, and he's going to, anytime you need something like that, he's going to be the one to give it to you. So
yeah.
you just like happen to upon just find this person. His name is Koi, and you actually never meet this guy, but you know that he's in his mid 20s, and you know that he tells you he's covered in tattoos, and he shows them off. He's like he doesn't like send you anything, but he tells you he's got like um uh let me see where my notes are here. Uh, he has some tattoos on his body that say like respect existence or expect resistance, ACAB, anarchy, eat the rich, suspect your elders. He's got like just covered in all these tattoos that are just against the man, basically, And so anytime that you guys need something, he will tell you about a place, and you don't know if that's his house, you don't know if that's just like a place for a contact, and you will put basically a fake Molotov cocktail in front of the door of a certain place, and he will find you through the internet, and he'll tell you, hey, this is what's going on for your next job if you want it. And so that's how you find Jesse's character.
Yeah, that makes sense. Would that be someone you would associate with?
Okay.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, I know you would.
Yeah, oh wait, that's right. Ryan, that's right. No,
So
I think
is
you
All
can
of a
go
sudden
one of
Jesse
two
like
ways, right? Yeah, when you were describing it, I was like, I'm gonna be friends with this guy. No, I feel like coming out of a situation like Ryan's, um, it kind of goes one of two ways, right? Where um you you come back home and healthcare is shitty and you can't find a job, and people treat you real nice, but but only in platitudes, right? And so you can either become like disenfranchised with society, right? And become like, and that's when you like start to swing like ultra right, right? Because you're like, oh, like it's society's fault, and it's like all the fucking woke libs that are making me not be appreciated.
Mhm.
Or you can come home and you're like, oh, it's the fucking it's the system's fault of like why I like everything is broken, I can't get a job, and my healthcare is shit, and my leg hurts all the time. And I think he went that way of like, no, the system is fucking broken. This is fucking stupid. I'm gonna get mine while I can.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I like that. So then, so then I was saying like you guys are established or whatever, that kind of thing. So like, but ask that. I'll ask like, do you think that you guys by this time when we're going into this scenario that I'm going to throw out at you, are you guys going to be established within each other? Is this going to be your first gig? Is this going to be like maybe your second or third? Like, what are you guys thinking? I don't want to put that out there. I want you guys to be like comfortable with what you think.
Mhm.
I feel like it's like kind of slow. Like Grant brings stuff like once in a while. Or you can't do it like we're not selling like 10 paintings a week, right? Like it might be like a painting every couple of months. So like maybe, maybe like we've gone out like on two or three jobs together. And like you probably do some stuff on your own, right? Like, this thing's only gonna net me like, $500. I'm gonna take it, just fucking,
Yeah,
pocket, right?
exactly.
Like I'm not cutting you in on that. Like I'm just gonna swipe it.
Yeah, and as we said, if we're kind of fishing from a pond of, I was gonna say he was a fisherman, so yeah, I'm throwing in the fishing metaphors. Yeah,
Please
you
do
don't
that
want
all
to
the time.
you don't want to you don't want to completely tap out your resource, right? So if I'm robbing the place blind, you know, cops and people are going to start putting connections together, and rich people are going to start talking, saying, I went to get this appraised. Maybe you should go get yours appraised. So maybe there is just that. Not Yeah, it's not like a conveyor belt of jobs, but we're in a certain type of business, so we know each other, and we just making friends. It's always good to have more friends and more contacts. So yeah, if there is something that is enough money for all of us to make money on, I'll cut him in and let him do all the paperwork. And but yeah, if it's a like a quick boost job, well, I'm not going to cut him on that because I'm hardly making any money on it anyway. So that makes sense that we're
Yeah.
known, we know each other, we've worked together, but maybe we're not like a well-oiled machine where we're all, I'm his only contact and he's my only fence, that kind of thing.
Right. Like you use me for my contacts just as much, right? 'Cause like if you steal a 2,000-year-old fucking, statue that's on a desk or whatever, right? You stick it in your fucking tool bag. Like you can't go to the pawn shop. Like you
Mm.
need to sell that
That's
stuff.
exactly what I
So
was going to
because I
say.
have the gallery, like, you judge certain people. Certain people
Yeah.
are looking for things that maybe they don't necessarily want to,
Yeah. Say out loud.
purchase on the up and up, right? So like the
Yeah, that makes
higher
sense.
end items probably get filtered through me
Yeah.
more, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, probably not like super, super long. I mean, I feel like and then in this instance, then like maybe Jesse's the new component, Ryan's the new component coming in. Like maybe
Yeah.
we've done, I don't know, have we done any jobs with him then, I guess?
Mm. Yeah, at this point I'm trying to think how that would work.
I mean, it doesn't sound
Because it
like
could be
you two have necessarily worked jobs together, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you've
Yeah, John's
worked
doesn't have the
together, but
yeah, John doesn't have the
yeah,
black gloves and popping open the window kind of thing.
right, exactly. Yeah. So I think it kind of makes sense that none of us have necessarily jobbed together, right?
And as I was saying, so yeah, if you're big enough, you're doing maintenance stuff, you're not the only one doing the job, right? You have subcontractors, you have other people working with you. So
Right.
maybe that's a good cover for Ryan is I need an extra pair of hands to help me run this copper, piping or whatever. That's the cover.
Right.
So
I mean,
having
it could
you
be that maybe Grant knows like you subcontracted a job out to James.
like an actual
So
job,
an actual, yeah. So
job,
like
job.
maybe like I know of you because of that, but
Yeah. And
we haven't necessarily worked together.
maybe it is, yeah, that so, JMac was actually doing some plumbing stuff for me and just in chatting, he mentions, his other buddy, he's looking for work, doing stuff like that. And maybe JMac goes back to you and goes, yeah, it was a really good job. He paid well, but the idiot kept looking at all the stuff hanging on the wall and he focused more, maybe you're picking up a vibe of, Yeah, he had me carry all the shit while he was, running his fingers over, frames and stuff like that. So you start picking up, maybe everything isn't on the up and up, and maybe you don't want to be, just going and throwing up drywall or running pipes or whatever. That
Yeah.
if there is anything more involved in it, that might be more what your speed is, other than just being like a handyman and
Mm.
day laborer kind of thing.
Well, that's cool. Then it kind of works with us kind of getting into this story then because you guys are kind of learning each other as you go, just like you would be if you're doing any other characters in any other story. So
Yeah.
that works pretty perfectly. Okay.
Cool.
Nice.
As far as like so when we talk about like rolling out stats and rolling out like certain abilities or whatever, has anybody done that? Does anybody have something that pertains to their character that would work in our when we role play?
I actually did have a question. So I'm actually doing stats. So if I'm looking down, it's not because I'm not paying attention. I'm actually writing out all my stats.
Whatever.
um,
Jesse's old school. He's writing them out. He's not typing them out.
I
nope.
wrote
That's
mine out
right.
too. We need new character sheets.
That's actually what I was working on before. I was trying to figure.
Yeah. Same thing.
There you
Except
go.
for I'm
Um,
using a nice little dragon
oh,
journal.
nice.
Theme
There you go.
appropriate.
So for skills, I don't know. So he's gonna be kind of weapon centric, right? Um, but I don't know how you necessarily want to break it down because, like, I know in Day Trippers, I don't know in Core. I haven't looked it up yet, but I know like Day Trippers split it up like
Small
long,
arms,
like
rifles.
small arms and long arms.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to do something similar where like
CoreThulhu
he's
doesn't do
trained
that.
in rifle and he's what was that?
CoreThulhu doesn't do that.
No.
It's it's firearms.
It's
It's
guns.
Okay, cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
You have skill in gun.
Yeah.
You're good with guns.
All right, cool.
And
Yeah,
it would
because I
make
wasn't
sense. Your
sure if
character
like he's
background, your character background. You may be a sniper, right? But you know your way around a shotgun or a handgun.
oh yeah,
Right. You
exactly.
still
Yep.
have to qualify with a regular rifle and all that kind of
Yeah,
You're a
stuff.
gun
exactly.
Yeah.
guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
you do
Yep.
Yeah.
gun.
Yeah.
I'm gun
What
bunny.
does this 22 do? And you're pointing it at your own face.
I don't know how to where's the trigger on this one? I hold it with one hand, what?
Right. And that's so then we'll jump into like mechanical stuff, I guess, like real quick then. So
Perfect.
most games, right? Like if you have skill in firearm, right? It means you shoot real good. But because the game is more, the intention for the game to be more narrative, you can reinterpret those skills then, within a parameter, right? But so if you're qualified, that doesn't mean you just shoot good. You can break down a gun, you can clear a jam, maybe you reload, your own ammo, right? Like that's part of your character thing. You could potentially like rolls be like, hey, does that, it wouldn't matter in a situation like this, right? Like if someone's shooting at you, it doesn't really matter. But like if you're in the field, or like you're in like combat and war or whatever, like does that sound like an AK or does that sound like, an M16? Does that sound like one of ours or one of theirs, right? So you can use those skills a little bit more creatively, maybe with or without a bonus or whatever, to give you a little bit more depth in storytelling, right? So like maybe, at a -1, you roll your firearms to be like, where's the best place to set up this sniper ambush? Or where's the best place for me to be positioned on a roof so I get clear line of sight? Because I'm thinking, like, as a sniper, I would have, concept of sight lines and all those sorts of things. If it matters to make a roll, right? Like, don't roll unless things matter, right? Like, it slows things down. It's not really that important. The important thing is the story. But maybe it does really matter because we're the security guards on the place that you're going into have a regular routine. So you want to make sure that you're placed in the right spot. Then maybe that's a role, right? And maybe you use firearms for that. So the skills are a little bit more flexible. to give you a little bit more leeway with stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that.
And I think firearms is the
Yeah.
example in the
And I've
book.
always been a fan of this, and yeah, yeah. And I like that idea. I'm always a big fan of being able to use any kind of skill, stat, or whatever to prolong a story where some people just see it as rolling dice, which is rolling dice is awesome. Come on. I mean, the whole reason why we started probably playing some of these games is because awesome dice, let's roll them. But I think, and if you've actually, listened to this podcast and watched us play, certain games, like we go for the storyline most of the time. And, there's not as much rolling, but yeah, it's nice to have things that help elongate and help more describe certain stories and stuff like that. So,
Right, like if you have chemistry or something like that, you can not only look at the alchemical formulas, but maybe you also can build a bomb, right? Like it's not a single thing, right? Like, and again, maybe there's a bonus, maybe there's a negative to that, but yeah, it allows you to think outside the box a little bit more.
And I think, and we've said this before, we're stereotyping the way we play, the
Well,
way we
yeah.
all play. But
yeah,
you
yeah,
can,
we're just telling the
you can,
truth.
yeah, exactly. You can make it crunchy, right? Where, okay, well, you can't roll on that because that's 38 and a 9 mil. You can make it crunchy like that. But I
Yeah.
think the fun of it is also that RPing part of, well, if I have this, can I convince you that it
Yeah.
also, that narrative stuff you build and it keeps you on your toes and makes you, I think it makes the character more in depth when
Mhm.
you've got to think up stuff like that. It's fun grabbing a sheet, grabbing the dice and rolling out 8 million different things to add to it. But it is also fun saying, okay, well, this is an amorphous thing. Can I, how can I convince you to let me play that or use it for this or that? And it helps build a character too. So that's always fun.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I have a question.
yeah. And I was, oh, yes.
Does Ryan have some level of, and I don't know how trauma's working currently, but does he have some level of trauma from service or no?
I don't know.
I mean, other than just like this is all bullshit and like they fucked me over, right? Like
Yeah.
that's just
Right, yeah. I don't
Dealing with
know.
the
I mean,
VA.
what are the aspects of starting with trauma? Is that a thing?
I mean, it can be. I can't see why not. I mean, I don't think
Yeah.
there's anything specifically written for like start with a level of trauma, but if that's what your character concept is, right? Like that's the
Right.
important thing. Like what's the story, right?
Yeah.
That's more important than like, oh, did we write this down or not, right? Like
Oh yeah.
I
Hmm.
again, I don't know how trauma is working currently. So in the original system, jump back to mechanics. In the original system, there is a trauma track because we're playing a game and you have to systematize aspects of play, which isn't
Yeah.
optimal, right? Like everybody's trauma that they deal with is different, each individual person. But the game's got a track in it. It starts off, I don't know, I don't have a sheet in front of me, something like unsettled and then anxious. And, it just gets worse from there, substance abuse, PTSD, whatever, till you reach your breaking point, which is like 10 slots down the road. It's different than the like you're crazy because that's not cool necessarily. Like, we all play Cthulhu. Cthulhu's fun. Like it's fine. But it was written in the fucking 78 or whatever. So there's different, definitely different ideas in the role playing space about how to portray that. So my stab at that was, you are traumatized by the things that are happening, which is a little bit more realistic. Having a scale, not so much. Um, so that's our starting point. The new point, where I'm vacillating between a couple of things where it's just a list with examples of, potential trauma. So like the first time you fail a psyche check, which is the equivalent of, our sanity check or, Call of Cthulhu sanity check. The first thing that happens if you fail, you experience shock. You walk into the room, there's a dead body on the floor. Oh, fuck. You roll, and based on your roll, something will happen. Maybe nothing happens. If the difficulty level or the target number is low enough, you're like, ah, shit, that's a dead body. That's fucked up. But okay, like whatever. I guess that's what happens. Up to and including receiving a level of trauma in the current system. But what that translates to in the new system could be like, a fear of, you found, you flip the lights on, there's a dead body. Maybe that translates for you as your player character and, and the table as a fear of the dark or a fear of, zombies, maybe. Like that seems like a stretch, but like, in the especially if you're playing modern, right? The equivalent of like, oh shit, you flip on the lights, there's dead body, like maybe it's alive, right? So however you wish to interpret that for your character is kind of where we're leaning. It's going to obviously need some explanation, a little bit of hand holding how that should work. And then it might just be like completely open and you get a certain number of ticks before that either that trauma deepens or you get a different trauma. Um, not exactly sure how that works. um, the in reference to the question of Jesse having a level of trauma, as opposed to a level of trauma that could be a complicator in our life shaper system that if you have PTSD from traumatic combat scenario that just could be a complicator in your life that causes maybe cause some of those other trauma things like fucking nightmares and insomnia and whatever. So I don't know how those two things would relate together currently because we're just kind of winging this. But um, one of the other aspects of the game is life shapers. That's an original part of core which I have not removed. Jesse's game runners, that's all gone by the wayside because we never really kind of used it in a mechanical sense. It's more of like a character definitional quality, as far as like the thing that motivates you and the thing that complicates things for you. If you tag them in core, I think it gives you an extra die. Um,
Mhm.
which we never really followed through with. We just made that a part of the character and then just used that as character inspiration and not as a mechanical, like, oh, let me get a bonus for this. Um, I guess we can focus more on trying to do that, I suppose. But yeah,
Cool.
I
I
would
see the
think
floor.
I, I would think depending on how Jesse wants to play it, I would think there's some bit of trauma, right? I just don't know.
Yeah.
Depending on the shit you've seen, where you were, if you were just, in training and you were always on base kind of thing. Well, depending on what base you were, I guess you can see a lot of trauma there too. Yeah, but I guess it's just a matter of how much, or if you want it to be, the PTSD thing, or just you said maybe your trauma is how shitty it is, and you're turning that on. The system sucks, and I've got
hmm
to go, fill out 8 million different things of paperwork just to get my check, or go into the VA, or stuff like that.
Well, we'll
Uh,
see how it works out. Right now, I have his motivation is get yours and complication of PTSD.
there you go. I think my complicator, which I guess is more of a fear, really, is losing everything. As far as the motivator, I mean, I kind of like it. It's almost like the flip side is maintaining that. I'll have to come up with something
Yeah.
because I don't want it just to be the inverse of the other thing, right? Like it should be
Yeah.
Yeah.
something else. But yeah, I
Yeah.
think like losing everything is the complicator, right? Like that's his fear, which isn't really a complicator, I guess, kind of, sort of, but like Yeah.
Well, I mean, what about a motivator of is there is there one specific item or one type of thing that he yearns for that he hasn't been able to get his hands on yet?
Um,
Like his golden chalice, his
Yeah.
his
I mean, it's kind of like existentially, right? Like to have everything perfect, everything in order, everything where it needs to be, all the boxes checked, all the T's crossed,
mm,
successful, attractive wife, good job, money in the bank, like it's all of those things.
mm.
Um,
But he's a collector not only of things, but not of like items, but of everything, of life, right?
yeah, based on his background, right? Like
Yeah.
The
like
more
it's
stuff you have,
I need this thing. I need that.
yeah.
Like these things complete the picture, and the picture is the thing that's important because then it looked right. It's the Facebook thing, right? Like
Yeah.
everybody's always happier and more successful, and blah blah blah. They have their life in order. Meanwhile, like everything is on fire, right? So it's sort of that
Well, I mean, in
thing.
that case, then it's slightly like other side of the coin. But what about the motivator of like the perfect life, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
not
yeah, yeah. There you go.
necessarily like collecting everything, but it's like it's it's the need, it's the desire to form that to make that picture,
Mhm.
right?
It's like serial killer adjacent, right? Like they're
Oh,
dead inside, but
absolutely.
like they have a
Yep.
wife, they've got kids, they go to work, like they go to
Yeah.
church, like all that. Like he's
They
not
look,
that,
it's
but
everybody is
it's
like, oh man, they must be so happy.
right. And he's not.
No, he's dead inside. He hates his wife. He hates his kids. He hates his home.
So I don't think he hates everything as much as like it's a thing to
True. Yeah.
maintain the illusion
Means to an
of
end. Yeah.
normality,
Yeah.
right? And again, I don't know how that plays out like in character. Like I don't know how much that stuff comes up, but that's
Right too.
kind of
Yeah.
like my headspace for this. Yeah.
Yeah. So like he doesn't love his wife because he's in love with her. He loves his wife because
I
he
need a
is
wife.
She completes
he
the
is the
picture.
most perfect wife that he could get. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
he
Yeah.
loves that aspect of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I like it more calling it like maintaining the facade, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
My dude is gonna fucking hate you.
Yeah.
Yes.
You are what's wrong with the society. You are part of the system.
At some point, you have to say "fuck you." I won't do what you tell me. You have to say that at some point.
So I think the motivator and complicator, I'm gonna have to think on that. Yeah, so I'll work on that. I'll by the next time we get around, I'll have some. I'm just trying to think, I didn't want to make it the stereotypical, he's a working class guy and he wants to, he has that maybe that is what the play in, right? He wants almost like John's facade, right? I'm a guy with a busted nose, but I know, about pointillism and impressionism and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just trying to think of a way to say that, just to say all this, other than just saying make the snobby people respect me and that kind of thing. But I'll come up with a better way of saying it.
Yeah, it could be like don't judge a book or something like that.
Yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
finding a way where maybe he tries to overcompensate, and maybe that's a complicator, right? That he's trying to, he's trying to play up the facade more, and it maybe rubs people the wrong way, right? And if you're in high society and your plumbers, telling you, what's what about all this art stuff, maybe it repels them a bit, or maybe it queers the deal a bit. So probably something like that.
I just to talk mechanics again real quick. So in core, when you tap a life shaper, I'm pretty sure it gives you an extra die on your roll. The way that Jesse does it in runners is if you tap a driver, which is what life shapers turned into for runners, it gives you an XP. So I think maybe we'll do that as an incentive for people to
To
tap them,
use it.
right? So kind of like Cypher
Mhm.
System, you can fuck, what was it? You could tap your I think they have something where you can like tap it to get an XP or a compel,
You
like
can
fate
spend.
or
I
whatever.
think you could spend edge. Oh no, it is your XP. You can spend XP. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then like in fate, right? You can compel someone with a fate point
Hmm.
to do something that's bad for them. Same thing in that's what I was thinking of Cypher. The GM can set a situation for you where like this sucks, but I'll give you an XP for it because the
Oh,
XP
yep.
system is real tight, right? Like you don't get a lot of XP.
Mhm.
CoreThulhu and Core by extension, you're looking at probably depending on what's going on, somewhere between like say 3 and 10 would be a lot, maybe like between 3 and 5 XP per session. Um, and to take to by comparison, to take a skill at level one would cost 10 XP. So it may take you 2 sessions or more potentially um, to gain that XP to gain a skill, right? So it's maybe a little bit faster than runners. It might balance out to be the same way because your XP uh, pool is also shortened.
Right. Yeah.
Um, so it probably balances out sort of the same way. But yeah, because again, the skills are what's going to get you over the hump in the long run as things get more difficult. You need more plus to get over that hump. Because the best you can ever roll is a 6. Like your die pool is 4, that's awesome. But like if the DL is 8, you can't ever hit it. You have to have a skill that's gonna propel you forward. And you could do anything, right? Like I'm not a like I can't like technical things like you can't do surgery, right? Like you could attempt to do surgery, you're gonna fail, right? Like
I
the
could
DL is
attempt to
just
do surgery.
right. The DL is so high that like sure I could cut someone open, but I'm going to kill them. But like, you know, if I don't have shooting as a skill as a character, I could still shoot a gun, just point and click. Obviously, it's a little bit more harder than that, but
Mhm.
you can attempt to do that, right? And whether or not you succeed, you know, the dice are going to decide that part of the story. But like Jesse's character Ryan, if you are a shooter, you're going to succeed frequently because that's the thing you're really good at. Um, so yeah, you can attempt to do most things that are not specialized. I can't hack a computer. The DL is a 10. I can't do it. There's no way for me to do it. But I can use a computer, right? I can reverse image search. You can like there's certain things that you can do. But like yeah, we're not like a hack into the fucking uh the guy's house like his this fucking home security system or whatever, right? That's more specific. Like you have to have skills for that. But yeah, it is kind of free in that I can try to sneak. I might not be sneaky, but if you roll a 1, I kick the trash can. Like that's how sneaky I was. Yeah. So yeah.
Cool. What am I doing? No. Sorry,
Did you
Dylan.
want to know what skills and stuff that we took? I think that's how this whole started off before I derailed us.
Yeah, you know what? That was like I think that was like a half an hour ago. I don't know.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
Maxwell
just
Banks,
for good.
he so our stats are body, which used to be health, brains, charm, grace, might, and psyche.
Oh, now
So
I gotta
his
erase health. God damn it.
yeah, you have to erase health, and you have to change where it
Use
is
that
in
eraser.
in
And I
the
have to
thing.
change where it is. Son of a bitch.
So I like to be a skill monkey with pretty even stats. So my body is at two, which gives me two dice. Brains at three, charm at three, grace at three, might at two. He's not super strong, and psyche at two. Because it'll be interesting to see how that works in a game where you have to roll psyche to see if you succeed at stuff. Um, and then my skills are awareness and research. Fast talk because he's has a criminal background as well as like owning the gallery. So like you're schmoozing people, right? Like that's kind of the same sort of skill. And then stealth. Um, and awareness, like we tend to look at that as like an active passive sort of thing. Um, because you can so for the system in core itself, you can associate a skill with two different stats, uh, which it kind of doesn't matter really, sort of. But like if you want to determine, the caliber of a weapon that's been shot, well, that'd be firearms using your brains, not firearms using your grace, because those are two completely different skill sets using the same skill. Awareness, sort of the same thing. Actively scanning, you're looking for stuff. You're on the lookout. You're on point. Whatever. That's brains, right? You're actively looking. Where if the GM says make me an awareness check, I would say is that active or passive? And if it's passive, that's more of like, what's my gut feeling? Does it feel like somebody's sneaking up on me? Do I sense as I, enter this room that someone is waiting, right? So again, the skills, not only do they have multi-use, but they can also be tied to different stats. Um, Fast talk is charm. That's it. Like some of them are pretty specific. A lot of your brains based tasks are going to be brains based research, investigation, like all those sorts of things, going to kind of be tied to one thing. Um, but it's not super important. Just, as you're looking at your thing, what makes sense?
Perfect. What about you, Kevin?
So I had body three, oh, I'm sorry, body two, brains three. So for charm and grace, I had one for both of those. And maybe that will tie in a bit with his complicator motivator, right? He's always trying to put on airs, and people who have airs don't really see him accomplishing that. So that might play in keeping them at that. It might I have three. In psyche, I have two. And then for the skills I took, I think like you said we'll have to see if this sounds right. Like I said before, the narrative around building and stuff. So I had art, but I didn't know if we wanted to do like art history or like actual like the forgery part of it, right? I'm trying to think which way to go in that. Is it that I'm good at taking a painting and mimicking it, or is it I understand all the history and stuff behind it? So that might be something I have to, or maybe I just split those up into two separate skills and make them lower, right? Instead of having like a bigger, that might be the way to go instead of having like one
Yeah.
higher one.
Yeah, I
So let
feel like
let me,
both of those should be
yeah, I think I
separate
would need both
because
of them. Yeah,
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 exactly.
like you
yeah,
said, like yes, exactly, to be able to be a great forger. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'll go ahead. I'll split those apart and put them at lower levels for each of those.
yeah. Because then
And
you
then
not only understand the history, but then also have the skills to,
reproduce it. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
To
Yeah,
be able to do it.
one without
Yes.
the other
Yeah,
probably
because you
isn't
can
going to be
you
very
can
helpful.
yeah, exactly. We already talked about you can know what this thing is. You can be like, "Oh, this is a Rembrandt," but then also it's like, "Okay, well, then recreate it." What? Yeah,
Yeah.
like you have to know those things.
Okay, so I'll split those apart and then, like I said, drop down the skill level for each. And then the other one was when we were talking before. So like I said, it was fighting. So like brawling or whatever. He's like a bruiser, a street fighter. That was the other skill that he had. And then we said before the bonds were so I was gonna say my father or like, my art instructor from RISD, but I think I might just go with father. That makes more sense.
Okay.
And then the thing about so I have bond too. So John, I couldn't remember. I don't have the sheet up now that we had, but the bond levels, I think the two is pulled from something else, right? It's
The
a like for
psyche.
like. Psyche, that's
Yeah.
what it was.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Because I didn't want to do so I'd played with a couple different things. I was like, oh, well, you can, spend your XP to increase your bond. Um, which then it's like, well, like who's gonna do that, right? Like if you're just playing a game and like you're not committed to the character, the story arc, and like all that kind of shit. It's like, I forgot, I can spend 10 XP on that. Like I'm gonna take another skill, right? Like it's gonna be more
Yeah.
use for me than like my wife is mad. Oh well, fucking who cares, right? Like, when you play Delta Green, like, oh fuck you, Dad. And I guess I'll have to like deal with that shit later, right? Like it's sort of a throwaway. And I didn't want to have that specifically. So we're doing it as a derived stat, so to speak. So
I
whatever your
remember
psyche
that.
score is the level of your bond. And your bonds can help you. So if you experience a bunch of trauma during the course of an investigation, adventure, whatever you want to call it, you can kind of like Delta Green. You can, spend time in nature. You can go to therapy. You can, get lost in work. You could, take up a hobby, frenetically, like, learning how to do woodworking to like purge all the stuff from your mind or whatever, or spend time with your bond, um, trauma dumping maybe, or just depending on what your vignette is like, right? Like however you want to approach that. It could just be spending time with that person to reinforce the normality of existence because you've been exposed to something that is like, this shouldn't be a thing that's fucking real and it's horrible. Like, just let's watch a movie
Yeah.
because it's going to make me feel better.
Yeah, it's just
Um,
like us in real life. It's like, okay, well, the world's burning down. Let me watch,
yeah, go watch Mall.
the next episode of House.
Yeah. So in downtime, which is a mechanical term, so after your adventure, when you have a period of time where you're not adventuring, we'll say, or investigating, you are spending your XP on skills, you're, increasing your stats, you're doing your home vignettes, with your bonds, and depending on the outcome of your role, if you get a yes and great, you increase your bond. So we could go past that maximum. You are reinforcing that relationship, you are spending time, you are doing things together, you are, expressing your love and whatever. You roll a no, well, it doesn't get worse, it doesn't get better, and you're still stuck with your trauma. You get a no, but like you're losing levels of your bond now. So you are, whatever you're attempting to do is not working. You are, uh, you know, trying to explain and they're not listening or they're not understanding and you're being frustrated, whatever, however that works out in the scene. But you are damaging that bond. You are not reinforcing, you are not expressing things as you would like, I guess, and it damages that bond. So then the next time you have a scene that is going to affect, I don't know if it affects your role or not, but and we don't know what happens when it's when it hits zero. Again, a lot of this shit's in flux. um, I think if probably when you hit zero the bond becomes broken, and then I don't know what happens after that, right? Like
Yeah.
it's not fun to be like, oh, I'm getting divorced in my role playing game now because I was a dick to my significant other. Um, but there's a cost, right? Because we're telling a story, a morally gray, complex story, whatever. Really, that's the goal. You can play whatever you
Yeah.
want. Like you want to do one shot shit, whatever. Roll out of dice, people go crazy and they kill each other, whatever. You can do that. It's fine. That's not the intention. But when the game is in your hand, you guys, you know, you play it however you want to play it. But
Yeah.
that is the intention. So there is ramifications in game for not only your actions, but the narrative, the story that we're telling, right? Because it can be dark and grim, and that's enjoyable, right? Because it's not you. So you get to like experience it vicariously. I don't know. That's fun for me. That might not be fun for everybody else, but that's
Yeah.
the intention.
No. Yeah. Well, I like the bond broken thing because it's something that you glom onto when things go bad. And when you have that thing that you can't help you get back to normalcy, then you're just going to go down a deeper hole. So like
Yeah.
even something as simple as I read books. Like that's my thing. I read these books. It keeps me grounded. Then you get to a point where it's like, okay, the bond is broken. I can't sleep. I don't eat. I can't concentrate. So when I go to read a book, everything looks jumbled. I can't even read words. Nothing makes sense. And then it makes me more tired. It makes me more anxious. It makes me want to lash out. Like
Mhm.
that's a good way to use that to make your character more interesting and make the story more interesting.
And there'll need to be a mechanic then to try to repair that. And maybe it's an extended downtime where you're doing nothing but like working on your bond, whether that means you're going to like counseling together or just narratively, where you're like, I'm gonna take my significant other out. We're gonna go to dinner. We're gonna do couples massage. Like we're gonna do all of these things, and then maybe you get to make another roll with a bonus and see if you can repair that bond. Right, you're putting in effort to make sure that this person who you care about uh, doesn't leave, or like there's just not this constant tension, right? Because most of the game is going to take place outside of that framework, right? Because you're going to be investigating things, exposed to all these horrors and stuff. And like when you get to your downtime, that's supposed to be a time of renewal and reflection and like trying to get my shit together. Like this sucks. Like so like leaving work and going on vacation, right? Like I want to reset and like recalibrate and like relax. And you don't want to come home and like your downtime scene is like you didn't take the fucking trash out. Like, or whatever. Like again, there's consequences, which is to me is interesting, but there needs to be a way to fix it,
Yeah.
which again might be a couple of minute conversation and a dice roll. Like it doesn't have to be a whole session, but it's engagement with the world and the characters and the bonds, which then makes the game more real in a certain sense. Um, so yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
that's what we love. So that's what I'm writing. So
Yeah, yeah. That's perfect. All right, Jesse, how about your character?
So he has in body, a 3 in body,
what'd you say it
a
like
2 in
that for?
brains, because I had to change my sheet. A 3 in body, a 2 in brains, and 2 in charm, 3 in grace, 3 in might, and 2 in psyche. I figured he definitely is more physical than mental, right? Granted and I went with the John way. Normally I like to have like a 4 and a 1, but I felt like this character, the I didn't know where to put the 1, right? Like I would have thrown a 4 into Grace. Mostly because of like the shooting and things like that. But I couldn't figure out where to put the 1 because didn't necessarily like, you know, for I wanted all of his physical traits because he's military, he's
Yeah,
army, he's a vet, so like he clearly like wouldn't necessarily have any ones in that.
yeah,
And then like I could have theoretically put a 1 in psyche to kind of show the slight broken aspect of him mentally, but it didn't make super a lot of sense. Um And then same, like I could have put a 1 in charm, but at the same time, I'm picturing him as like kind of like a Jake Gyllenhaal-ish kind of person. So he's like good looking dude, um, and kind of like knows how to talk to people, especially being overseas out there. Like you have to know how to communicate with people.
yeah.
So it didn't make, so yeah. So I went the John way with a bunch of 3s and some 2s. Um, and then for skills, same thing. I'm kind of reinforcing that military training. Um, so he has a 2 in guns, a 1 in tactics, because I figured having some kind of like military tactical thinking would be a really good, especially that's, you know, being able to take that aspect, that skill set, and put it into his current lifestyle absolutely makes sense, right? He's the one that is like, okay, we need to watch out for people coming this way and this way. I'm going to set up here so I can watch down there, right? And then I put a 1 point in martial arts as well, figuring that he's going to need to know hand-to-hand combat and knife and like weapons work and things like that. So,
Yeah, makes sense.
Yep, I like that.
and right now I'm doing the
That's
very
perfect.
important part of researching all of the main tattoos that he's going to have.
Nice, nice.
It's got to be an American flag
Well,
on there,
I'll
right? That he
send
hates
you.
now.
Yeah, holy
A
smokes.
burning American flag.
There you go.
You get big anarchy symbol, you got to have one of those.
Oh, so there
Right
you
on the
go.
back of
Yep.
the hand.
Oh, I've got actually I don't I wasn't sure where I wanted it, either on the forehand, the back of the hand might be good too, of the 3 arrows, the anti-fascist symbol.
Mm.
Hmm,
I might do that.
there you
Nice.
go. And just like
Perfect.
I guess as a meta thing. So um Grant has a higher fighting, Ryan has higher shooting, and I have neither. Because we want to see how that plays out with the new system for combat, with just trying to hit a target number in combat, how that plays out.
Yeah.
Well, if it plays out like it does in Runners, your character will kill everyone and no one else will do anything. So we'll see.
I mean, probably.
Okay. Well, I think we've got a lot of this stuff pretty fleshed out. Is that what it flushed out? That's what I was. Why did I say fleshed
Both
out?
work.
Well,
No,
Both
No,
work.
fleshed out is what it is.
Flesh
yeah,
shows, yeah.
yeah. Well, flesh FLESH or whatever works well with the old CoreThulhu thing. So maybe I'll just call it that. Yeah, looks like we've got some great characters. We kind of know where the story is kind of gonna be heading. It's still kind of in the beginning stages or whatever, but I don't really want to give out too many details until we get into our episode 1, session 1, wherever you want to call it. But yeah, we'll be live streaming this. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be giving any warning on when we're going to be doing this, so just kind of if you subscribe and keep the old bell going, it
Yep.
will
Hit that
alert you when
notification
we
button.
actually go live because that's right. Because with our lives, you just never know when it's going to work and when it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. We're going to have it on YouTube here, and hopefully you are around to be able to watch and enjoy what we're going to be doing because I'm really excited. I'm really excited about getting back into GMing again and just talking with the guys even before getting this done. Like, I'm really excited to see where everything goes and how the playtest is going to go. And I feel like it's going to be good to see if I can break everybody in the game, not in real life. So that being said, let's just go around the old table here and see what everyone else is got going on. So, John, you got the Legends of the Tabletop. What's going on over there?
We are currently playing runners. Once all of our games run once a month. We live stream on YouTube, and then rip all the stuff and record it as podcasts as well. So we have a podcast stuff available wherever you get your podcasts. Runners is a post-apocalyptic AI wasteland game, which Jesse wrote. which is a lot of fun. So we have that going. We have a Call of Cthulhu game. We usually play on Thursdays. It's currently going. I'm not sure how long that's going for still. We had a long-term campaign that has come to an end. So we're doing some more like one-shot sort of stuff for that. We are playing Deadlands. We should play on Fridays. That game has been sort of hit and miss currently. We're trying to get that back on track. And yeah, and CoreThulhu, doing this, but writing, kind of taking notes, hopefully working on CoreThulhu, and hopefully we'll have this out at some point in the future. And that's probably it. Donate to your local food bank. Everything sucks for everybody. If you're able, that's an awesome thing. There are bail funds if you're located in some place like, Minnesota, where, fascists are everywhere. But, Minnesota's been bad recently. They're snatching people up for just, using their constitutional rights to protest, and people need help. So if you can donate to your local bail fund. There's probably a national bail fund as well. I haven't looked at that as much, but yeah, help people out where you can. Mutual aid is where it's at. That's harder to do in the suburbs because everybody's all kind of spread out. I talked to like two of my neighbors, so I am complicit as everybody else is. But yeah, reach out and be cool to people.
That's great. I'll even add on, like, if you haven't checked on any of your friends, neighbors, family, or whatever, just call them, say hello, like check up on them, see how they're feeling, how they're doing. I had to have a kind of sad conversation with our son about suicide because it's been kind of a big thing around here. So make sure you check up on the people that you love and tell them how you feel. Jesse, you're running runners for the Legends of Tabletop. What else you got in the pipe? Anything that you want to talk about?
That's all I got. It's taking up a lot of time and no time at all. So
Mhm. Well, you're also
um
running Pirate Borg for us.
that is a good
Oh
point.
yeah,
I'm
we have
also doing
Pirate Borg
Pirate
too.
Board.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
I
that
forgot.
should be yeah, we're what, like 3 or 4 sessions in on that. We should have
4 or 5, 4,
really. Oh
at
wow,
least
yeah.
4.
Yeah.
Yeah, four, I
We
think.
should have in theory we should have a couple sessions more, but it's us. So we probably have like 9 or 10. Um yeah. And I'm trying to put together a character sheet for CoreThulhu to
Nice.
lock John into some mechanics.
It's all in flux right
Perfect.
now. There's a lot of things that are
Yeah,
going
that's all right. Yeah, exactly. You're doing the best you can, and that's all we can ask.
Yep.
Yep. All right, Kevin, what about you? Any recommendations, anything that you're excited about?
I was gonna say when we played the other night, I was excited for the NHL playoffs, but not
Were
so
being the
excited.
operative word.
Yes, so John and I are from different sides of Pennsylvania originally, so we each have some rooting interest in this series. But the one I was gonna say, the one good thing about this week is, so we've had a couple games this week, and in between those games has been us playing and then watching the Pens and the Flyers. So after this week, we have a month till our next games, and the
There you
chances
go.
are my team won't be in. So John will be the one staying up a bit later to watch some games. But I guess for John, it's not later; it's actually earlier.
Yeah, game
Anyways,
comes on at 4 o'clock.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Being in the UK, it's 5 hours ahead. So, but you make sacrifices, I guess. But other than that, no, just I'm glad we're getting up a new game. Always up for some Cthulhu stuff, and we've been talking about CoreThulhu for a while, so it's fun to get back into it again.
That's
Cool.
awesome. Yeah, very
Jesse,
cool. Yep.
I guess before we bounce real quick, Jesse ran an awesome one-on-one CoreThulhu game. You catch over on our YouTube. I think it's already come out on the podcast. It was just me and him. And it was more weird and investigative, like two-room lock mystery sort of thing. There
Oh,
was
technically 4 room.
Yeah, I guess technically worms. It was called Theseus's Investigator, so you can find that on our feed. That was good. So yeah, if you want to check that out.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
Awesome. Awesome. Very cool. Uh, Speaking of check it out, if obviously if you are watching this, you know about our podcast. We're still continuing our Core Noir campaign, which John is a PI, just trying to get through his PI life. But it's a wonderful campaign. So if you haven't checked that out, start at episode 1 and catch up, please, because it's a wonderful campaign.
Super fun game.
Also, for sure. We also have a D&D campaign that is something that we did with a bunch of I think it was like what, 5 of us or something like that. I think it was
It
like 4 of
was
you guys. So it was
me,
a
Jesse, John, and Leslie. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So
and you.
that is a fun one. It's basically a and me with as the GM. Basically they are quantum leaped into different characters' bodies and they have to figure out what is going on. And that's a fun little story that is happening right now. In between, we also have board game episodes that are going to be coming out. And here in the near future, we're going to be talking about Finspan, which is a fun little fish version of Wingspan. And we'll also be talking about an older game, Champions of Midgard. So just stay tuned for that. Again, wherever you get your podcatcher of choice, except for Spotify, because Spotify sucks and for some reason won't work with us for getting that podcast on there. So screw them. Don't listen to it on there. What?
Yeah.
Find
Hey,
something
fuck
else.
them anyway, because they
Uh,
steal from every artist that has a fucking song on there.
yeah, exactly. So,
And they just
but
made
anyway,
a statement
thank you for
recently that
watching.
80% of their songs uploaded are AI generated. So ultra fuck them.
Oh, that's
Yep.
super fun. Thanks a lot, idiots. Okay. All right. Well, on that note, thank you for watching this. We're all human beings, and we'll catch you next time.
Peace.
Bye.